Um,
Right.
Man, we really been buzzing. I seen y'all been going back and forth on Twitter like crazy. I think you and Jar from Rap Roundtable and somebody else. What's that whole thing about?
You really want to know?
Yeah. I'll talk.
It's about Big and Jay and Nas.
In
And this guy, I mean, the fam just
in what
feels like that,
context?
huh?
In what context?
About how Jay and Nas are better than Big. And I'm like, like how they have more songs and better songs. And I'm like, well, that's just because, they stayed alive like the Bee Gees. It's like when they,
Yeah.
I was explaining to the fam, I just sent this tweet out too. And I was actually in another meeting, like literally to about 30 minutes ago. During the meeting I was at, I kind of tweeted out the fam right quick. I'm like, hey, it took Nas and Jay about 5, 6 years song wise to catch up to what Big left them with.
No, that's real.
It's no disrespect. It's just real.
I don't think Jay would take it as disrespect. I don't think Nas would either. I think when you think about the comparison when it comes to Jay and Big, let's just say hypothetically Big lived, right? I
Right.
think to compare the two, and it's funny because, Jay's the older of the two, it's literally like someone saying that Kobe's better than Jordan. Like, Kobe actually went out there and patterned his game after Jordan. It would tell you that. Like, got advice from Jordan, just like Jay got advice from Big. You know what I mean? Like, you could tell, and we spoke about this on our previous episode. Like, you can listen to Life After Death, and you can see how Jay kind of patterned his career from then on out on that formula and how those things were being done. Now, granted, yes, the longevity of it all and being able to consistently do what they've been able to do. We constantly harp on what Nas is doing recently, and we always talk about Jay for his longevity and how he's been able to be so dominant for so long. Like you said, never been a nigga this good for this long. And Big just didn't have that opportunity to do those things.
Yes.
And we don't know, if Big would have just fell off a cliff or if he would have continued to sustain that greatness. It's a big what if question. But if we're sitting here judging things in a vacuum from what we heard, I can't just say that, inherently Nas and Jay are just better than Big like that. Now,
Well,
granted, on an all time level, you can't really put Big over them based on the lack of material.
right.
But, yeah.
Well, a couple of things that he said in his favor that I found to be, kind of factual. A, Big didn't have the opportunity to make any bad stuff. Well, correct.
Well, that's
But
incorrect. That's incorrect. A
well,
double album is a big opportunity to make some bad stuff. Two
that,
out, it really your sophomore album. That's why they call it a sophomore jinx. The third
well,
album's supposed to be the one, really. So Big came with a classic on his second try with a double album. That's a big degree of difficulty. So he did have an opportunity to make something whack. He just never did.
I don't argue with that point, and that's an excellent point. I did not make that point. I went to other points of the argument to make. But I think what he's saying is that, like, Jay and Nas have put out like 14, 15, 16 projects at this point.
Yeah.
Big would have, and I'll grant it, Big would have made some subpar stuff, like volume wise. But what we were seeing from him, like, let's just say it was just a run, Mike. Like, it was like gonna be a dynastic type run of quality of music being made,
Right.
and he had already kind of distanced himself a little bit hit wise from those guys, because Nas and Jay have the street records to match Big, but they don't have the hits to match Big, and that's where actually the separation happens with Big. Quality wise with Jay and Nas is it's like, well, they got hits, but their hits ain't like his hits, and they damn sure not better.
In
You and I
1995,
frequently, it's like we're actually going to talk. I want to talk about a line from Juicy based on that flyer that you showed me.
somebody
Actually,
said we're blocking people. No, we're not blocking anybody. I don't know if YouTube's playing any games or whatever, but no, nobody's being blocked. What we
yeah,
saying,
nobody
Coop?
can block. I'm about to say I haven't even like stepped into like the thread yet. I've actually just been in my notes. No, like one of the things that we're going to talk about in reference to Lupe as well today too is that this is what's so special about Big. Big had a great way of being able to contextualize things that you know, but put it together in a fly way that you remember. When you sent me that flyer, the MC Sham flyer that had Rakim as the undercar and had Mr. Magic and Marley Marl on
I
there.
actually got it right here. Yeah,
Cool.
I'll put it on the screen.
Put it on the screen. Let's
But
talk about a couple things on there. The first thing that I realize is like that's the line from Juicy Biggs talking about. Every Saturday, rap attack, Mr. Magic, Marley Marl.
yeah,
When you sent me the flyer, that's the first place that I went to as a head.
mm.
That's what I mean about how being super lyrical all the time doesn't matter. Sometimes you need to connect.
Yeah. And you were talking earlier about Ice Cube, being randomly played in your car when when you got in the car. Excuse me. And nobody
Yeah,
did a better job of connecting at that point than Cube. Tupac
he
is
had
another
me.
one, and I think that Tupac's connecting barometer is off the charts, and that shit's important. It's literally more important than the lyrical miracle stuff. And yeah, that's a shot at the people who did an interview about that. I'm gonna talk about that later too.
It it is. I was actually thinking about if you look at most people's top 10 MC lists, it's like, well, no, there's a lot of great lyricists on everybody's list, but it's all the lyricists who connect with you. It's
Mm.
it's Nas, it's Jay, it's Big, it's Tupac, it's Ice Cube, it's Scarface. It's like
Yeah.
none of those guys, except for maybe Nas, you would probably take to like a rap battle and be like, yeah. You feel me?
Michael Williams with the super chat says, Coop, is Pain by Tupac on your best soundtrack song list?
That's a good question. If my iPad would let me in, I would let you know. I'm having trouble getting
Well, if it
into
isn't,
the.
it isn't. If it isn't, it should be, rather. It's one of
I
my
think that
favorite
it is. I
Tupac
know
records.
Pour Out a Little Liquor and My Block is on there. Is
I
that
like Pain more than both of those songs, and I love Pour Out a Little Liquor.
that's pretty strong. Let's hold on.
It's that
Finally got.
beat, man. I don't know what it
Hold on.
is,
I'm in.
man.
Let's. You know what? You can call me wrong. I don't have Pain on there, but I do now.
Okay, it'll be on there.
Yep.
All right.
No. According to Hip Hop, for the people, by the people, help me with the playlist. That's cool that somebody was listening because I am currently still. These are two of the harder playlists to make. The soundtrack playlist super hard. The Prodigy playlist really hard because Prodigy connects with a lot of people. Another guy who
Again,
connects.
another
Who's
connector.
also lyrical. Another lyrical guy who connects.
Mad Max with the super chat says, got a lot of respect for Big, but his debut didn't age that well. Life After Death was great and has stayed great. I think the thing about Big's debut, Ready to Die, that is, I think you could tell that it was recorded over different periods of time and different eras, actually. I think the Fugees were talking about this with Blunted on Reality. They recorded it like during a certain time in hip hop, which was '93. Same thing with Big, right? And then by the time that the label Columbia was able to put it out, shit changed. And I think that we're hearing that in Ready to Die through the course of one album. And you're also hearing, the Uptown Big, you're hearing the Bad Boy Big. And in that course, you're also hearing what rap sounded like in '92, '93, and what rap sounded like in '94.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I wasn't interrupting you, was I?
No, you good. I was done. Sort of.
Okay, so the thing about Ready to Die that's beautiful in a way that Illmatic isn't, because it doesn't have timeless themes like Illmatic, is that you can kind of hear that 92 and 93 hip hop doesn't have a direction.
Yeah.
That's why Big and Puff were able to do what they did. It didn't have a direction or a sound, so they started giving it one. And Ready to Die is actually the embryo. I always tell people, when Illmatic comes out in April, that's not the beginning of something new. That's the end of something old. That's a timepiece with timeless themes. That's about hip hop from 85 to 94. Ready to Die is about searching for and connecting on a lot of levels with what's next in June. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're doing what's next, well, it's not probably going to be flawless, Like, probably not. But when you're doing what's next, it's not going to be flawless. Like, I'll tell you what, and we'll talk about
Or what
this
you
in
think
like
is next. Yeah.
Yeah, well, my melody's not flawless. You feel me?
It's
It's
not.
not flawless. It's not. It's not like a flawless record, Mike. Like even when you
It's
think about
raw.
Paid in Full, when you think about Paid in Full, do you think about My Melody as the first record that comes off the top of your
It's
head?
one
That's
of the
what I mean.
first. I say Eric B is president for me. Um, yeah, man, my melody and I ain't no joke. It's right around that.
Yeah, right around that, but it's
Yeah,
not the record. Eric B is president is the. How
that's the
about this?
record.
From has it been told to me, most people, Eric B is president and Paid in Full, the actual song,
Right,
are
right,
the
right,
records.
right. Mad
You
Max
know
with
what
the
I'm
super
saying?
chat says, not giving big that Nas. I'm sorry, not giving big that Nas did Illmatic the same time. It's a lot better than Ready to Die to me. I wasn't alive for that era, so I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's better because it was
It's
put
better.
together better, and I think that the point of where Illmatic was going was also
That's what it is.
different than what they were doing on Ready to Die. Ready to Die was about, you know what, we're gonna make a street record and a record that got hits on it. I don't think that Illmatic had any
But
intentions on having any kind of hit records.
no. But they were intentionally making records to see what was connecting. It's like,
Yeah,
okay, do y'all want to hear Biggie talk about subject matter? Well, let's do things done change. You want to hear Biggie show his versatility and do some gangster shit? Well, give me the loop. Machine Gun Funk. You want to hear something like kind of deep and depressing and thoughtful? Well, we got Suicidal Thoughts. We got Everyday Struggle. You want some hits? We got Juicy. We got Big Papa.
the
You know what I'm
versatility
saying?
is all
You
over the
want
place.
who's buzzing in the streets right now? Let's get Method Man on a record. You
Yeah,
feel me? That's
LP
what
with the
Ready to
super
Die is. Ready
chat.
to Die is like one of the best actually trial and error sessions ever.
Yeah,
Like for what works and what doesn't. And if you looked at what worked, most of what he did work. Gimme the Loot doesn't work. No, yes it does. Machine Gun Funk.
the
Warning.
Isley Brothers sample worked.
The actual Ready to Die, flipping the Isley Brothers sample into Big Papa work. Nope.
Yep.
Juice using the Juicy Fruit sample. Nope, that worked.
We're gonna get to that too, because
Everyday
Pete
Struggle
Rock.
work. Me and My Bitch work. Me and My Bitch is on the show soundtrack with the Computer Love beat.
Yeah.
Like, no, they connected a whole lot. It's a
Let me
great
get to
record.
these. Let me get to these super chats real quick. I don't want to interrupt you.
No,
Machine Gun. I'm sorry. LP says Machine Gun Funk. Give me the loot. Me and my bitch. Suicidal thoughts. Everyday struggle. The what? No way an album with them songs aged badly. I'm
that's what
with
I'm trying
that.
to say. It's like it didn't age like Life After Death, but
Damian Jones says, Coop, you got heated last week, but next time take Nas's advice. Don't argue with fools. They'll scorn the wisdom of your words. Ghetto prison.